beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? Hey, everybody. Welcome to another, hope I did that right, another edition of Power to the People. I got so much to talk about today. I know I haven't been on for a while.
I know.
It's been weeks.
It's my first time back in the studio since March.
Wow. I wasn't here all of April. I did some shows at station. And so it's good to be back. A little chilly in here, but if I can get people to stop stealing my heating units. But I think we have settled that. I think. Stealing off of the top of the church for $70 worth of metal. That ends up costing us $15,000. So it's a little chilly in here, but we'll be replacing the unit. And then, if you come again, it ain't gonna be the same way. I ain't giving away no secrets, but anyway, good to be back in the chair. I have so much to talk about, everything from city budgets to, because you need to know about your city budget and how this process works and what is being proposed to the mayor, to the common council. I'm going to tell you how the process works, because a lot of folks out there don't know how it works, and it's no fault of their own sometimes. But if I'm going to spit out this information and knowledge, grab it so that you know how to participate. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about potholes again. We'll be talking about potholes, what I'm doing in Ellicott as far as potholes, and what I've learned. I don't know if this is a bad pun, I've been ankle deep in potholes. As far as studying, learning, and figuring out what other municipalities do so that they don't have these craters in the street. And I'm going to tell you in a minute, because part of it is just about people who don't know and allow utilities and everybody else to come on the street, cut it up, mess it up, leave it like it is. So I'm going to tell you what I'm proposing for Ellicott. Now, I know what somebody's going to say, but you're the council president. You should be concerned about the whole city. I am the council president, which means I preside over council meetings, which means that I keep council together. It does not mean I'm not an at-large member of the council. So everybody has their own council members. What I do in Ellicott, I can't make another district do, because that's what we're doing in Ellicott. So I want to be clear why I'm talking about just Ellicott. And then maybe other people join in. I know, for instance, the resolution I just put forward, Councilmember White and several others joined into that resolution. But I'm going to tell you the process that I want to see happen in Ellicott. Stay tuned, because it's beyond filling potholes. You can fill potholes all day. You got to avoid them.
Absolutely.
How do you avoid the potholes? Not just fill the potholes and then fill the potholes, and then the next year you're going to have the same potholes. I know. Come to the back of True Bethel. Got the same problem. But now that I'm learning, I promise you I'm not going to keep having that same problem. I just didn't know, because that's not my specialty. But what I did is I did like I do for anything else I do. I studied. I'm going to be telling you about that in a little while. Yeah, Marie Collins, I'm ankle deep in it, and I'm going to tell you. Diane says, sitting in the back, can't wait to see you all. I'm going to be talking about that. Also, talking a little bit about Deaconess Hospital. I told you I got a lot to talk about. The place where I was born, and some future plans that were meeting last night. Adams Street, if you're familiar with Adams Street, big changes are coming to Adams Street. And Kevin Samuels. I'm talking about all that. If you haven't heard of Kevin Samuels, you better call somebody and ask him. I'll tell you whether he is or was, which means I'll tell you whether he's alive or whether he's dead. Yeah, in a few minutes. All right, but let me start with my guests at the top of the hour, because they have been waiting to get on to talk about the Community PTA, Buffalo Community PTA, And what is the Buffalo Community PTA? I've got my longtime friend, Ina Ferguson, who is here.
Hello.
Got my longtime member, May Bynum, who is here. What you got today? Tell us what you have.
So, the Buffalo Community PTA, we used to have PTA here, lots of them, when I was younger. My mother was part of PTA.
Sure
But,
was. Very active.
Yep, so now this will be the first ever in the state. We are very huge. We're part of the Big Five. And to have a Buffalo Community PTA for all children. It doesn't matter what school you go to or your homeschool, all children. We need to advocate for all of our children and get the community involved. And that's what we're forming. We will charter on May 10th. We will be chartered, and we'll also be our own 501c3.
Wow. Tell me what's the difference between the Buffalo Community PTA and the other parent groups that are out there?
I'm not sure what the other parent groups are exactly. I'm a member of a lot of them, and they advocate for children. But New York State PTA been around for 125 years.
Yes.
They're not new. They all across the state, across the nation. Our executive director Kyle will be coming in. It's huge. It never happened before.
So this is a PTA across the state?
This is a PTA. We start locally.
Okay.
In Buffalo, and we're also part of Western Region, which is 12 different regions in the state.
Okay.
And then it's also national.
Okay.
So we're a part of a huge community.
So it's I guess timely that we're having this conversation because I still have one left in Buffalo Public Schools, and I asked the other day, has there ever been a PTA meeting at that school? And I know, everybody talks about the pandemic, but we did a lot of meetings by Zoom and everything else during the pandemic. I don't even know if there is an active PTA. I've never gotten a notice, and I may have missed a notice. I don't get all the mail, but I haven't seen that. So this PTA and the community PTA, I know you have something coming up on May the 10th at 6 o'clock.
Yes, on May 10th at 2421 Main Street, we'll be chartered, which is the Belmont Housing Building and the 1199 SEIU building. That's where we'll be at. It's easy access if you have to catch the bus or park handicap.
Yep.
It's for everyone. Children are welcome to come. We have area for children. We have seniors that will be there. They can earn community service hours that they need for graduation. The Regent Catherine Collins will be speaking, and the intern superintendent, Dr. Tanja Williams, will be there also.
And is this the organizing meeting or an organizing meeting or just the informational meeting?
No, this is the charter meeting. We've had several meetings across the city at the different parent centers, at different schools, Bennett, Lafayette. We also had a meeting at the Western New York Resource Center. That's where we meet at a lot of times. And this is the charter meeting.
Wow, so this is the charter meeting on Monday, May the 10th, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, 2421 Main Street. And parents come, they have to have children in school. What are the requirements?
So there is no actual requirements. It's community involvement. Businesses can come and join. It's like we had Tapestry Charter School have joined. New York State Charter Association is part of it. A Parent Network are a part of it. So we have many different resources. The Buffalo District, Buffalo Public Schools are in full favor about this. We need to collaborate together. We have a chance to make a difference.
What is the goal of the Buffalo Community PTA?
The goal is to help our children and to help parents.
Yeah. So you're here. What's your role in this?
I had been praying about this. Let me say that first. That we collaborate with the parents and the students and come together as a we and to improve our own children. I'm going to go with this emotional intelligence thing. A lot of things have been going on a lot behind the emotions and not knowing how to control the emotions, not knowing how to look at the big picture, and I'm talking about in every area. This is not just school. This is across the state, really, for real, but one step at a time. We need to reach our children. They need to read. They don't even know how to tell time. count money.
So how does the PTA help in that?
They have incentives, like they just had a celebration with the arts, different dances and stuff. Our last board meeting down in traditional down here on Ferry, they did a beautiful dance thing. The senators, they give them a little money or whatever, they do things, a lot of things with the youth, allowed to encourage,
So this is a charter meeting going on May the 10th. Again, 2421 Main Street. I know there are other parent organizations out there. I'll just say this. I don't think there can ever be enough.
No, it's
That's
not.
right.
So
Please,
I truly believe that, and I've said it, I'm not going to shy away from it, that our school system is in crisis. I do believe that COVID has been a part of it. I do believe that a lot of things, it's a pile of things. And I think when we say we should only have one parent group, what we're not really understanding the gravity of the problem. And different groups will approach different things in different ways. And you all may not agree with another parent group or another, but to have parents active is the key. And to have, even if it, grandparents and stakeholders and concerned citizens active. So, I'm a booster of anything positive.
Yes.
And saying, go for it, do what you got to do. Our children need as much help as they can, and one group cannot do it alone.
Right, because
so
they got maybe 21 different languages. So those people need to come to the table, and so that we can help each other. This is a we thing.
Yeah.
This is not about an I.
Yeah. Speaking of the languages, before I let you all go, will there be, if someone does not speak English well, can they contact you so that you can get an interpreter there?
Yes, so at the event, the district has provided a flyer in the top 11 languages.
Wow, cool.
And there'll be 9 interpreters there.
Wow,
Yes.
wow. So that's already taken
That's
care
already
of.
taken care
So
of.
they don't even have to call.
They don't have to call. They sent out the emails and text messages to them. In their
That's
language.
huge.
Yes,
Everyone
that's huge. I'm excited because Buffalo needs it.
And you've been involved, both of you, for years, and I don't think you have children anymore in Buffalo Public
Nope,
Schools.
I'm
right?
grandkids.
Grandkids, right?
Grandkids.
That's where we are supposed to be.
Grandkids.
And nieces and nephews.
Yeah, well, I got 14 grands and 1 great.
From
so.
Facebook, Daphne McNabb, Dr. Daphne McNabb says, yes, indeed, build a better foundation of literacy and social and emotional intelligence and maturity. They need to incorporate homicide education, CLRI infusion, etiquette classes for both, and she goes on in her comments, and it's available right there on Facebook. You got a lot of people saying excellent. So this is important. Again, I'm going to give it for the final time, May the 10th, and before I sign off, I'll give it again. 6 to 8 p.m. Buffalo Community PTA, and I'm telling you, I was just asking about PTA, and really so when you say PTA is Parent Teacher Association,
Teacher
which means
Association.
teachers are included
That's
in
right.
this organization. That's important.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Yeah, because
And
we can't
also
do it
have
alone.
teachers that are members.
Yeah, and that's
Yes.
important because you have to have the educator a part of it, and that's what I
Yes.
thought was so important about PTAs in schools. And if we don't have them in individual schools, and I don't know if we do or not, so I don't know if there are active PTAs in every school.
So there's MSC has a PTA, and they have the high school there, the one that's on Donovan, and they have a PTA that they're starting to regroup again. They had one started, but it faded out a little bit, but they regrouped.
I think
again.
every school needs a PTA. I think
Yes.
every Buffalo public school needs a PTA
They do.
so that parents and teachers are working together for the good of our students,
This is an
especially
advocacy
today.
program, it
Yeah.
helps you to understand and, how to go about, even with the children, they help them to know how to manage, and they got, if you just go look on the website, you see how much they offer,
Yeah, yeah. And who is that? What website? Where you?
At NewYorkStatePTA.org.
All right. NewYorkStatePTA.org. So happy to have Ina with me. So happy to have May with us. I'm going on with the show. I'll make sure I announce it before I sign off.
Okay,
All
and it's
right,
between
thank you.
Jewett and leeway.
All right.
Right there by the bay.
So I'll announce it again if you didn't catch it, and if you're just watching on Facebook, then you can replay it. All right, let me talk about Deaconess Hospital. Deaconess Hospital, which the place where I was born on October 23rd. Put it in your calendar for birthday shouts. I'm just kidding. I don't even do birthday shouts. Thanks, honey. But there is a plan moving forward, in the works, for CAO to move to have a location there built, and also to build houses for sale, which is big from the residents. They want houses that are for sale.
Yes.
And they want, and there will be rental component. Some would like to have all houses for sale, but I can just tell you this: when you're talking about workforce housing and getting subsidies, it is very difficult to build a whole community like that, as far as available dollars from the government to make it affordable. Right now, everybody knows that the housing stock and what houses are selling for. Now, if you're a seller, you're happy. If you're a buyer, it can be distressing because there are bidding wars on some of the simplest projects. The simplest homes. And so it is very difficult out there right now. So this is a plan. One gentleman who was there at the meeting last night was concerned about preserving the history of the hospital, and actually trying to find out where the birth ward was, because he was born there. And I think that it's appropriate to, in some way, acknowledge that on the property.
Absolutely.
But I do want to see something happen positive on that lot. Right on, for those of you who may be too young to know where Deaconess was, it is right at Humboldt and Northampton, right in that area. And that's where that big lot is, and I think a greenhouse that has seen better days or something. But at the end of the day, that was gifted to the CAO from Deaconess, and so now they've been meeting for a couple of years, but now actually moving forward to start their plan. One of the things that people wanted from the community, they wanted housing on Humboldt. In the beginning, we thought that it would be better for, the planners thought it would be better for the center, CAO, to be right on Humboldt. But now when we're talking about the covering of the 33, that could be a parkway. So, of course, you want to come out of your house and sit on the parkway and not have a commercial building. So I think that showed a lot of foresight, which is very, very, very important. And so that meeting was yesterday, so thank you to all of the community who came out. I know that the city held a meeting about Adams Street, and a lot of vacant lots there, and they're going to be working with the community to do, again, home building, so that people can live in the neighborhoods that they grew up in. And right now, folks, and I said it years ago, some people heard me, some people ignored me about how important real estate was. I said it before I was elected about the fruit belt and other areas. Listen, if you can get a hold, people say, well, I want to invest in the stock market. I got this extra money. I'm just going to say this. If you can get a piece of real estate, I would do real estate before I do stock market right now.
Absolutely.
Getting a lot, and understand, let me teach right now. Every vacant lot does not belong to the city. So we get a lot of calls to our office going, I want to buy this lot, or I want to buy that lot. So let me tell you how to research it. Really simple way to research it. You go on the city's website, do a Google search, City of Buffalo, New York. You go onto the city's official website, and you look at the address. It tells you, it's really easy pull downs. And look, and the way you know that it belongs to the city, it says something, what is it, perfecting
It'll
title?
say City of Buffalo, perfecting titles, or it would have City of Buffalo
Somewhere in
on
the
it.
line. If it does not say City of Buffalo, it does not belong. Well, Pridgen, I don't know the number. Look at the poll. If there's a poll, there will be a number. That is more than likely the address to that property. And so you're going to have to do a little homework, because when you call my office and say, oh, I want the lot on Grape Street, I don't know what lot it is. If you're interested in something, you got to do the research. You go on and you look. If you see, when you look, a person's name, that it'll say owner.
Yep.
If it says anything with City of Buffalo, that's a trigger that it is City of Buffalo. And you can call Buffalo, our real estate office, and get more information on it. If it does not say City of Buffalo, it is more than likely not a property of the City of Buffalo, because people do own empty lots. So this is just, I'm trying to teach. Robin Worthy says a lot of them belong to the city. I've researched it. Some of them do. And there are a lot that belong to the city. And I'll be very honest with you. I had a meeting yesterday, and some of those lots need to belong to the city so that they can be turned into affordable housing, or housing that people can afford to buy. Right. And if we sell, and that's why I put a moratorium on the fruit belt, if we sell the entire fruit belt to prospectors, one or two people could come in and buy up every lot in the fruit belt if I hadn't put the moratorium on it. Every lot, yep. Because it's just up for sale. And then what do you think is going to happen? They come back, they put market rate housing, then you say, oh my goodness, gentrification has come and pushed us out of our house. So it has to be a plan.
If they put market rate housing, they could, because one thing, like you said, the real estate is the greatest investment, because God's not making no more land. Yeah. So these people or buyers, they will buy the land and hold it just for someone to buy it back from them. For
absolutely. But for a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm telling you. Corrine Flip says, is there anything in any plan about the empty houses in the fruit belt? Very good. All the questions are good. She says, on my block, there are 5, no one living there. Now, Corrine, it's the same thing. So if it is privately owned, and more than likely it is if it's in the fruit belt. Mm-hmm. So what you have is people who have property, are holding on to the property, and the only thing the city can do is if it is out of code. Yep. It isn't out of code if nobody's living there. You can have a piece of property as long as you're keeping it up. It can be lived in. There's no code violation. If there are code violations, you get folks, the inspectors come out, and you can call 311. I'm giving power to the people, Call 311, get that tracking number. And that way, the inspectors, it definitely does trigger an inspection. I want to ensure most people will tell you it triggers an inspection. They then take that owner, or not take them to court right away. They then write them up. They give them so much time. It's a prescribed time to start to remedy the problems. If they don't, over a period of time that is prescribed, it goes to housing court. Once it's in housing court, for instance, the council member is out. It's the judge then who has to bring them in. Now, what happens a lot of times with empty houses, like the one next door to me, so I'm feeling your pain, Corinne. I'm feeling your pain. I've had one next to me that has been empty since I bought the house. They started work, then they sold it to somebody else, and then the other people started work before the pandemic, showed up a little bit during the pandemic, and have not seen them since, okay? Only thing I'm thankful for is they put in new windows, and the windows aren't all busted out. But the point is, some of the people, if either they're out of the country, and some of these folks are in Canada, it is very difficult to prosecute them, because unless they show up to court, nobody's sending the long arm of the law or a marshal, and we can't even do that in housing court, to go get them and bring them here. The second thing is, we have a great deal of people from New York who own property, New York City. And the standards are a lot different in their mind, because I went through it with Town Gardens. And so at the end of the day, it is so difficult. But if it belongs to the city, that's one thing. If it's private, it's about putting that pressure. And you all know I put up slumlord signs on the front of a property, and we got some getting ready to come out. I'm going to do it again this summer. And I'd say about half of those properties, and don't quote me, have gotten attention after we went out and had to do the hard stuff. One of the places that I know I'm going to want to put a sign up is right on Michigan.
House is up for sale.
It's up for sale?
Yep.
The house next to the church?
Yep.
Oh, good, because we've been pressuring them, and I hope the church buys it. I wish, Pilgrim?
Yep.
I hope that Pilgrim buys it, because I have a feeling, because it was built, it looks the same as Pilgrim, that at one point belonged to whatever congregation built that church. And at the end of the day, I hope that Pilgrim buys that church, or somebody who cares about our community, because I've been on them like crazy, and it has just been nasty and just horrible in that backyard. So if you have what I'm going to call the top 10 properties in Ellicott District, that has not been taken care of, that we already have inspectors on, and we can even start that process. I want you to call our office at 851-4980, 851-4980, or you can send us an email. You can go right to the city's website and send us an email, because I'm going to be looking for our top 10 slumlords, top 10. Mm-hmm.
The sale on 653 Michigan is already pending.
Oh, already that quick?
Yeah.
And it just went up for sale
8 days ago.
Folks, if you saw how raggedy. Now we want to keep it because it is a historic structure. But when I say no windows busted out, structural problems, so whoever gets it, hopefully it is. What is it?
I was looking at the pictures.
How bad?
Zillow. Yeah, on Zillow. I don't even know if I could blow these up, but yeah, it was completely gutted out.
The house was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tremendous house. I really hope that the pending is the church. I'll be honest with you, because that would be tremendous for them to own that property. So that's what's happening on that front. Deaconess, Adams Street, city lots. Robin Worthy says a lot of them do belong to the city. Oh, that was the lots. Mm-hmm. 1-2 doors down from me has been empty since 2006. Work started, then stopped. Worrisome because of possibility of fires, rats, vandalism, all privately owned. Yes, get those addresses. Call 311 and call our office. Please call our office, because I'm going to be riding around looking for our top 10 worst houses. And really, when you say, well, why not all of them? Because it's only so much you could do. But if you get that out there and you get the other ones knowing that in Ellicott is not going to be tolerated, we've been able to get a lot of traction. Can new law be introduced to seize the property when they fail to comply? Well, there are laws already on the book. Governments are very cautious about seizing property. And I'll tell you why. At the end of the day, when you seize a property, it's always going to be a fight out there. It's always going to be something said. I mean, you really want, because when the government seizes it, the government has to take care of it. You want it to be in the hands of responsible people. And so what, to me, is better is to pressure that owner to either take care of the property or sell the property. And that way it goes in the hands of somebody who's going to be responsible for that property. Why let this happen? Why allow someone living out of Buffalo who don't represent Buffalo in our community? Because it's called capitalism. You can't, the government can't, if you own a private house or private land, this is just across the United States, the government does not control, if you're selling your house, your private house, your wealth, something with your name on it, the government cannot tell you you can't sell it to somebody who is not from Buffalo. There's just no law for that. And I don't know if there would even be a taste for that. I know if I have a piece of property and I want to sell that piece of property, I don't want the government telling me you can't sell it to somebody in Syracuse, because just because they're not in Buffalo doesn't mean that they won't be responsible. I do think, and I have advocated in the past, especially, and I'm still talking about this, we're still mulling it over, to have a owner database. Now, there is one actually. You can go right online and see who owns a property. You can go right online. It's very transparent. But for landlords that rent out and they're not, they don't live in the house, I think there should be a database. There should be a contact person so that neighborhoods can either contact a management company or contact somebody when that house is falling into disrepair, because a lot of times the landlords don't live there at all.
And I was going to say, I think, as we heard kind of last night, that word community, and if you know you've lived in a property or your family has lived in a property for umpteen years, then you think you're not just going to sell to the highest dollar,
right,
because you want to maintain the integrity of the community. But like you said, it's unfair to then say, no, you got to protect that if I'm just trying to get out.
Absolutely.
If me or my parent was ready to downsize this, that, and the other, I can't necessarily say the community is number one on my priority list. Number one is going to be, how can I get the most money for this property so I can move mama somewhere?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. It's wealth. And the only thing, I mean, I don't want to see people who have lower incomes held to a different standard when it comes to selling their property than somebody in Clarence Center. I mean, they can sell it to whoever they want to. It is about the community making sure that whomever is on that street, that they're following the norms of that community. City budget, the mayor has proposed, and I want you to walk through this, his budget for 2022 and 23. Now, our budget cycle begins in July. He sends it to the council, and he says, this is what I want to do. The budget process then is in the hands of the council to either vote the entire budget as the mayor has presented, or for the people to, I'm sorry, I was reading and talking, to vote the entire budget as he says, or to amend it, to dispose. Now, one of the things the council can't do, I mean, we can negotiate to add to it, but is the mayor proposes, the council disposes. So we can say, nope, slash. Now, some people, let's talk about what the mayor has proposed and what the process is. So we have already what is called accepted the mayor's budget, which means it's in our hands now. So the council will do several things. Number one, the council will hold a public hearing on Monday the 10th at 5 p.m. in chambers, and you'll be able to watch by social
Tuesday
media.
The 10th.
Is it Tuesday?
The 10th is a Tuesday.
I'm messing it up like they wrote it down. No, oh, right, it's Tuesday the 10th. Sorry. We start our meetings with department heads on Monday. Then we have the public meeting at 5 p.m. Now, even if you can't show up and you have a concern about the budget, you can call our council staff's office or send an email, and you can get right on the Buffalo City website. If you don't know how to do that, or how to send a comment, or if you don't have social media, you can even call your council member's office. Register your thought, your addition, your subtraction. It's your money. Let me say it again. It's our money. It's our money. So at the end of the day, this public process of hearing is more than just superficial going through the motions. So what the mayor has proposed to the council, and this is just a few things so that you understand this is his proposal, is to spend $568 million, a residential property tax increase of 5%, and a commercial increase of 6.6%. What that kind of breaks out to is, according to, for every $10,000 that you pay taxes, it would raise it, I want to say, by $50, somewhere in around or about. recycling and garbage user fee, he's proposing a 4% hike. The mayor is proposing setting aside more funding for public safety, youth employment, and training, and snow removal equipment. The city spending would increase by about 6%. I'm not going to get into all that because I don't want to get all into where people might get confused. Here's the biggest thing. Yeah, and here it is. For owners of a home assessed at $100,000, the increase would be about $50 a year. And we know that even for renters, that's going to get passed on to the renter, depending on how much profit that landlord is making. According to Brown, the tax rate, I quote, will still be lower than when I first took office in 2006. Some of the things he's planning include new police and fire vehicles, technology called Shot Spotter, which detects and pinpoints the location of gunfire, 19 new vehicles for the Department of Public Works to address winter snow plowing issues, and then GPS, So, okay, so you answered this flip. All right. So what is important, I think, in this for you to understand is that you have a voice. The council will now begin considering it. It will have a public hearing. It will have workshops in which we will meet with department heads and really do line by line in some departments to see what is needed. I think what is so important, and I'll kind of transition as far as when I talk about potholes, because when we have soon our Ellicott District stakeholders meeting, one of the things that I'm looking at doing for Ellicott District is to have a subcommittee dealing with street imperfections or potholes and sidewalks so that we are actually taking care, ensuring that we're taking care of the worst of the worst. But here is what I learned in my research and understanding of this whole pothole situation. Usually you get the company answer, which is, it's the freeze thaw, the streets freeze, then they thaw, then you get a pothole. It's so much deeper than that. That is one of the main culprits of potholes. So what happens is you get a hairline crack in the street. Water goes down into that hairline crack. And if it goes down in there for years, once the hairline crack is there, when the winter comes, it freezes, but it freezes underneath all the way up to the top. So you know how our winters are. What occurs is as the ground begins to thaw, that all of that freezing and ice start to push up the street, the actual pavement. And then when a car rolls over it or a vehicle rolls over it, it breaks it up, and there's the beginning of the pothole.
Like picture crushed ice.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the beginning of the pothole. That's number one. Number two is just a failure to ensure that people who cut into our streets come back and fix it adequately. That is like one of the biggest problems we're having. I've proposed in the past a database so that, and I said it on this show, I'm going to keep saying it so you know that I'm not ignoring it. At the end of the day, and I'm just going to use this one trade because they do a lot of street cutting. Plumber cuts into the street for some pipes that are broken. Wintertime, they put concrete in because they can't put in blacktop because of the temperature and not available blacktop in our city until this season. They're allowed to put concrete. Many of them never come back and put the blacktop. So that's why I want this task force so that in Ellicott, when these things happen, we have a way of following up. But it needs to happen citywide. And the way for that to happen, when they cut in the street, they have to have a permit.
Yep.
So if you have to have a permit, I don't think you should be getting more permits until you fix what you've already done. And that's going to take the person that I proposed 3 years ago, and now the city says they are going to fill this job of the potholes are. Now, here is what I also learned. If we did more prevention, we would not have as many potholes.
Absolutely.
So in this budget, I'm going to be asking for more equipment to prevent potholes rather than just fill potholes. We need to fill them, but understand if we prevent them, we save ourselves a lot of money.
Absolutely.
Because they got these machines that when you have these hairline cracks, they come out and by hand they're holding this tube that's connected to the machine and they're filling those cracks. They're filling those cracks. So imagine all summer you're filling the cracks so that in the winter you're not going to end up with as many potholes. Now, in a city of this size, it may take 3, 4, 5 years to get to a point where we're saying, wow, we just don't have as many potholes. But we got to start somewhere because right now they're out of control, just out of control. And it's not a good thing. And we keep doing the same exact thing, is patching them, and we got to get away from it.
Yeah, and like you said, it's costing us money on both ends, from having to repave whole city streets, having to fix potholes on a spot basis, to even paying out the claims for busted tires, axles, and everything else. So it's costing taxpayer dollars in one way, shape, or form or the other.
Absolutely. And I hope I'm saying this right. I think it's Corinne. She says the suburbs and on the highways, those hairline, that's exactly what I'm talking about. They are filled with a liquid black that prevents it. This city has to invest in that equipment. And I don't know if we have any. I'll find out during the workshops, during the discussions, but we have to invest to have more prevention. Then it's like tooth decay. You don't wait until the tooth is falling out, then put a cap on it, and then every year it falls out, and you got to keep putting the cap on it. Sooner or later you got to say we got to floss and we got to brush twice a day, right? 3 times a day, so that we can maintain our teeth. Well, if we do that to our teeth, we've got to do that especially to our streets. I know we've got sidewalks, but I'm concentrating right now with a big concentration, streets and sidewalks, but on streets in the Ellicott District, streets. So when we have our next stakeholders meeting coming up in a few weeks, what I want us to do is to set aside a task force so that we are actually following up on that ourselves in our own communities. That way somebody on your street or you have a plumber come out, they do some work, you already know. Oh no, buddy, when are you coming back to fix this patch in the street? Because just because it's in the street, he or she is still responsible. National Fuel, National Grid come out and open up the street and don't come back. We need to be on them. They make a whole lot of money, They make enough money. Then the third way to prevent it is not only sealing up the cracks, but there's some street that have so many little cracks, you have to put a thin layer of blacktop on that entire street without doing the whole thing, thin layer. We've got to get to prevention. I'm working on it for Ellicott District as hard as I can. I think that it is very important. Robin Worthy, failure on the city behalf, have jobs, exactly, stop paying these people for doing nothing on jobs. So I think that it is so important that we get to the point of prevention.
Absolutely.
Not just filling them. And I learned it for True Bethel too, because our backyard looking bad in the back. And we have done what the municipality has done. We just patched it.
Yep.
And so now I told them to come take the whole thing out. I'm going to have our parking lot sealed. You got to stay on this or else it ends up looking a mess. So I just wanted to let you all know what I'm working on when we talk about the city budget, what I think is important, getting more electric vehicles in our fleets because that saves gas, it saves environment, and to be very honest, we're way behind, way behind, and I'm pushing that. I've got in several resolutions asking for the infrastructure to be there. Electric cars are on the way, whether they're here, and they're growing, and they're becoming more and more affordable.
Yep.
And with gas going up, I'm not advertising for them, and there's some vehicles out there right now that are only $4,000 or $5,000 more than the gas vehicle that you don't have to. You got to still buy your electric, but it's a lot less than the petroleum you're buying right now. So I'm working on that. But True Bethel, Ellicott District, hear me. I need 3 things from you. You'll hear soon when our stakeholders meeting is coming up. But I need those top 10 slumlords in the city of Ellicott, or in the Ellicott district, because I can only do Ellicott. So don't send me other districts, because it's slumlord sign time. And also get ready, because we are going to concentrate on the streets and sidewalks of Ellicott, but as a community, not just we gonna call it in. We're gonna work together so that we get the prevention in, and then we maintain. I want our streets to be just as smooth. And when we have contractors and stuff that don't respect our neighborhoods, to me, they shouldn't be able to get another permit to dig in our street. Period.
And I was just going to say, and we also didn't forget about our housing priorities too. That, as we've talked about earlier in the show, we still focused on the housing that we came into this year with as well.
Absolutely, that affordable housing. This is so much going on, so much going on, so much going on. So that's it. Kevin Samuels. If you haven't heard of Kevin Samuels, yeah, I got articles right here. I got articles from NSNBC. Who is yours from?
I don't know. This is the one you printed. They brought up.
Oh, yeah. I need that. So if you never, I think Jen just said she never heard of Kevin Samuels. So, yeah, Kevin Samuels calls himself a relationship specialist. Some would say he's very hard on women. You know, he says stuff like, if you're over 30-something and you're not married, you're leftovers.
You're leftovers.
Something I don't believe. And many things. Well, he is either loved or hated. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, Twitter went crazy saying that he had died. And as of today, now I go to somewhat reputable sources, or sources that at least have to answer to what they say. So this is from NBCnews.com. NBCnews.com. Kevin Samuels, YouTuber with 4 million subscribers, has died, his mother says. Kevin Samuels, a YouTuber who became known for his controversial relationship advice, has died, his mother confirmed to NBC News. Rumors of his death first circulated on social media Thursday night. His mother, Beverly Samuels Birch, declined to release details about what happened. She said she learned of her son's death from social media.
Wow.
Quote, that was a terrible thing for social media to put that out. I didn't even know. I hadn't even been notified, she said in a phone call on Friday. All I'm doing is requesting that people pray for us. The Atlanta Police Department said officers were called to an apartment on East Pacey's Ferry Road Northeast on Thursday morning regarding a person injured. By the time police arrived, first responders were performing CPR on an unresponsive man, later identified as Samuels. A woman in the apartment told officers that Samuel had complained about chest pain and that she attempted to help him, but he fell. The police reports the woman called 911. Samuels was taken to Piedmont Hospital. When contacted Friday, the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office said it could not confirm or deny. So, yeah. So
I was going to say, like you said, you either love him or hate him. I think the biggest issue I had was watching people on social media celebrate that he passed.
Yeah.
That was the tough part to witness. Like, you don't have to like somebody's opinion or their delivery,
Absolutely.
But he still has a family. He still has loved ones. And I'm sure, like the mom said, she's learning from this from social media.
Yeah.
So then she's, of course, now also seeing the posts of people saying he deserved it, blah, blah, blah. And that's the part I can't get with.
Yeah, he and Marie Collins say he disrespected women, older women like myself. I do agree that his opinions I did not agree with, and I probably really only watched him a few times because I didn't know
Right.
And I saw a comment somewhere and went to the page, and as I watched a few, I was like, I don't want to hear this. I got daughters, so I don't want to hear this. But at the end of the day, and I understand what his mother feels. Being in the spotlight. I mean, people and you die. It's going to leak. It's going to leak very quickly, and it's going to be out there. But according to reputable news sources, Kevin Samuels has died. One of the things, funeral etiquette. When you hear about somebody dying in somebody else's family that is not your family, and because you got the first news because somebody saw them in the hospital, and they shouldn't be telling you anyway because hipping is not hip. You don't get the permission to run on social media and put it out there. That's not fair. It's not fair. Listen, there have been times that I've mentioned somebody who passed, but it was only after the family posts something, or only after the family says you can.
Absolutely.
Don't be the one running out there. It's just rude. And somebody got to teach. We got to start teaching again.
Sometimes it happens even before they pass. You'd be like, oh, I saw them in the hospital. Man, they on their way out.
Folks killed off Monique's uncle so many times before Jerry died. It wasn't funny. At the end of the day, stop believing because somebody said. When I first heard about Kevin Samuels, I didn't, and I'm only doing it now because I'm talking about looking for more credible news sources and not going because somebody said it on social media. You got to look for those credible resources. But I'm so tired of seeing people post on social media about somebody else's family member before the you don't know whether everybody has been notified. You don't know anything. So you ain't Rona Barrett. You're not Ted Koppel. All these old people. You ain't Lester Holt. Come on. You keep, listen, funeral etiquette. Can I give y'all some funeral etiquette? Stop walking late into these funerals. And while the casket is being closed, or while the family on that front row is mourning, now you come in Mr. or Mrs. Fabulous, usually late, walking all the way down the middle aisle, then you got to talk to people. They don't want to talk to you, sir. They're mourning their loved one. They don't want to talk to you, ma'am, and they're only doing it to save face. And when you walk away, they're looking at each other out of the corner of their eyes, going, why did they do that?
Or here come that one.
Just why? It's always one. Listen, folks, first of all, I'm Methodist, come from the Methodist church. You don't walk down the middle aisle and then walk on the car. If you're late and you need to get a card to somebody, you walk down the side aisle if the casket is closed. If they're walking down the middle aisle for viewing, view. Okay? View. And then shimmy your tail to the side. This ain't your show. This is not your show.
But you know that they do it now while you up to preach. They come down front, just like you said, shimmy.
And I also pause. At this age, I also pause and just stare at them for a while to get them to understand it's rude. And if you didn't know, now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. Stop coming in late, and now you got to interrupt the service to walk over to the family to talk. Or when they're closing the casket, that ain't the time for you to want to talk. I'm going to miss them. Miss you out of my view. Miss it. Move to the left or to the right. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Crisscross, just get out the daggone way. I'm telling you, it's starting to get, somebody got to teach. Somebody got to teach, and I'm just at the point where we got some foolishness going on. And people act like, and these ain't little kids.
No.
The kids, to be very honest, the young people are more in order than the adults. Because some adults just don't get it. And just because it's your niece, you don't get to skip everybody in line and hollering and cussing. That's my niece. No. And finally, just put your camera away at folks' funeral if they didn't give you permission. You don't go up taking pictures of somebody's loved one And now families are putting in the casket, no pictures. If that family wants pictures, fine. But if you don't know, ask somebody.
Or Facebook Live.
Yes. Come on now. We got to teach. We got to do better. Okay. Marie Collins says the most dangerous time is passing out the obituary. I agree. There's been arguments in this church over obituary. And if you know you got 800 people in your family, don't come with 10 obituaries and then say, why the church ain't. I want to tell y'all something right now. Most churches do not do obituaries. So if the family only brought 30 and they knew 300 folks was coming from Tupelo, Mississippi, then when we go and put it on the black and white, why we got the black and white? Just because.
And that's a courtesy.
Hobson's the Dr. Dry Cleaner. I don't have all the addresses. I'm going to get off early so that they can play it back. But Hobson's, listen, I went over there the other day. Got a boatload. No, I didn't get a boatload of clothes. I finally have them all picked up. I took a boatload of clothes. Hobson's. I took my son's sneakers. They look better because he is rough on sneakers. Hobson's the Dr. Dry Cleaning. Listen, folks, take all those winter clothes. Take them over there. Pick them back up. Pick them back up.
Please.
Or else I'll be wearing your coat because I will buy leftover stuff from the cleaners that nobody picked up in 2 years. Anyway, they might have bell bottoms and 6-button jacket, but I'm going to get them. Anyway, Hobson's the Dr. Dry Cleaner. And also, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home. He is just here today. He'll be back here again next week. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home in your hour of need. It's Brian K. Lewis. I'm not going to give the phone number because they're going to play it in the commercial. I got to get ready to go. It's good being back. See you soon. Until next time. Power to the people.